Chuckloaf again with more. As I try to watch 1,200 films in a year, here we go. Watched a lot of Bond in these last batches, and we got a new movie in the top 5, maybe top 3, so we'll discuss that later, but let's get going. 378, Dead Shack. This was a fun little zombie movie, I guess. This family and a couple friends went to this little home away from home, I guess. And they had a little cabin out in the middle of nowhere. And they realized, the kids found out that their neighbor is keeping and feeding zombies. So they go back and tell their dad, and he doesn't really believe it, but, you know, he goes along, and then he believes it. But, yep, fun little movie, Dead Shack. 379, The Cottage. These three idiots. Well, 2 of them are idiots, but, they kidnap this girl, they get a ransom, and, they just make one mistake after another. It's supposed to be a horror comedy, but it's neither, really. I don't know what this is. But, yeah. Wasn't too impressed. Number 380. This was interesting. Stillborn. Figure with the title Stillborn, I figured they would have to do something with the stillborn dead baby, but it didn't. This woman gave birth to twins, and of course one died and one lived, and I figured it'd be another movie where the ghost of the dead baby came back to haunt, but it did not. It's not what happened. But this mother, right after giving birth, she feels this odd presence, and it's basically a demon coming for her other baby. So she's got that going on, and try to get help before it's too late. Interesting film, Stillborn. Yep, good little horror. 381, Dark Floors. These people are stuck in a hospital, and it's like the world ended around them, and they're kind of stuck trying to get out of this hospital, and these ghosts and demons and ghouls appear, making their life difficult. But it's not bad until the ending. The ending's so stupid, which is going to be a recurring theme in a lot of these horror films I'm going to review today. But 382 is a Bigfoot documentary. The Back 80, a modern day Bigfoot encounter. It was this basically retelling this little section of some state that had a slew of Bigfoot encounters during a short period of time, and it's got a lot of interviews, but no recreations. They couldn't spend $5 to rent a Bigfoot suit and recreate some of these stupid things. I mean, most of the time he's just walking across the street. Come on. And then the last third of this awful documentary is the people in this that were interviewed just doing a basic night Bigfoot expedition, just walking around at night. And one of them was with a married couple, and they're just sitting there having small talk, like, how about this weather? Sure is misty out here. That part was insufferable. But yeah, not a good documentary at all. 383, From Russia with Love. Love Dr. No, that I watched recently. Russia with Love is more of the same thing, really. It's a lot of Bond doing special things and fighting people, and the suitcase little technique was pretty interesting used in this one. And then I realized quickly that Bond doesn't always kill the main villains. Sometimes they just live. I thought I missed something. Like, wait a minute, did I fall asleep, or what happened? It's like, he didn't kill the bad guys. Like, well, apparently he doesn't always do that. Then we got 384, The Vanishing of Sidney Hall. This was interesting. It had the kid from Indignation. He plays Sidney Hall, and he's a writer, and he's controversial. And I guess one of his stories, kind of convinced a kid to kill himself. So he kind of goes in exile, and there's this other writer that's out looking for him across the country. He pretends to be with the police, but he's not. As Sidney Hall is going around to random libraries, burning his own books in the library, which was, interesting. Yet not a bad little movie. 385, Murder Games: The Life and Death of Breck Bednar. Breck Bednar. Okay. This was a British documentary about this guy that convinced, they were all gaming buddies online, and one was like 17, the other one was like 14. And after being buddies for like a year or so, one convinced the other one to come on over and hang out, and he ended up killing him. Didn't just kill him. He kind of tortured him and killed him. And so it was about how that led up to that, and kind of dark, but I guess it was interesting enough. 386, Battle for the Lost Planet. This was so bad. This was cheap early 80s sci-fi at its best and worst. This guy steals a space shuttle. That alone should tell you where this movie is going. He steals a space shuttle during an alien invasion, alright? And he's flying around while Earth is getting destroyed. He's flying around for about 5 years. Then he crash lands back on Earth. He figured it out, how to land his shuttle. Took 5 years, but he did it. And then he's kind of a cult hero, I guess, on Earth, and they all know who he is. And he kind of gets this group of people together to go fight the aliens. And Battle for the Lost Planet. It was a one-timer if you're into cheesy 80 movies. 387, Goldfinger. Goldfinger. So far the most formidable bad guy in the 3 James Bond movies I've watched so far. Plus he had a badass little henchman with the killer karate chops and the flying slicing hat. Goldfinger was a lot of fun. Good, solid little adventure. Well, big adventure. It's Bond, but yep, so far the best of the bunch. Number 388, Thunderball. 4th James Bond movie. It was nice to hear Tom Jones singing the intro. And the villain from Russia with Loves is back. I thought, he's going to finally get his comeuppance. Nope. And this had the most violent underwater fight ever in the history of cinema. I don't need to see every film to know this. This is ridiculous. How many people can get stabbed in the chest with arrows? But still a lot of fun. Number 389, You Only Live Twice. Bond movie number 5. Bond is now in the Orient. And again, the bad guy from the last one, still going. We finally get to see his face, though. Donald Pleasance, who people will probably remember from the original Halloween movies. He was the old man hunting Michael Myers. He would always say, "He has the devil's eyes, the blackest eyes." But, so we got to see him finally. Oh, and Bond had to learn karate in 2 days. He had to learn how to be a ninja. Basically overnight, so we could storm the fortress with the other ninjas. But yep, still love Bond. Loves a lot of fun. The next one is on Her Majesty's Secret Service, which was the non-Sean Connery one before they brought in Roger Moore. It's hard to find, so it might be a while before I review the next Bond one, but I'll be looking for it. 390, The Duel. This was excellent. Woody Harrelson. He's kind of a shifty preacher, lawman running this little town that doesn't take kindly to others. Mexicans, minorities. And then this other guy moves in. He's kind of an undercover sheriff, I guess, and trying to figure out what Woody Harrelson's doing. And things build up from there. But yep, excellent little film if you can find it. The Duel. 391, The Fifth Wave. Kind of a box office bomb, but I thought it was a fine little film. Good little science fiction-y. Ron Livingston was good in a serious role for once. Maybe a little too similar to the Divergent movies. Maybe that's why I didn't do so well, because I think people got kind of tired of that series towards the end of it too, so maybe this movie kind of suffered because it's along the same lines. And it would be nice if there was one ugly person in this movie. Just one. But nope, everyone's an underwear model. But what can you do? 392, Downrange. This movie's been done 1,000 times, but this is probably the best of those thousands. It's where a group of people break down and there's a sniper hanging out nearby and he's picking off people one by one. There's a movie called Roadside. There's been a billion others like it. This is along the same lines, but this was really good. And he didn't just shoot you to kill you. He shot you several times to let you know that he's shooting you. You may get one in the ankle, then one in the kneecap, and then one in the hand, and then one off the side of the face. And yep. Very good, though. 393. This was a foreign film from Germany called Cold Hell. This kickboxing lady is a single mother. When she gets home, she looks out her window and sees a dead body of a recently murdered woman. And then the killer looks out the window and sees the other woman staring at her. He's like, uh-oh. So she goes to the police, and the main police investigator kind of tries to keep her at his place, I guess, while he's trying to figure out who did this, and she just can't resist trying to figure it out herself, so she's always sneaking out to find clues, and yeah. But interesting film. 394, Body. This movie. Oh boy, here we go. These three girls sneak into this mansion of this family that they don't even know. They just know that they're not there, so they can party. There's the three of them. Then the groundskeeper says, "What are you guys girls doing here? Getting the hell out!" And they kind of get in a shoving match, and they shove the guy down the stairs, and they think he's dead. So they come up with this concoction. Let's say he tried to rape us. So they do all these things to. So when they do go to the cops, they can say, "Well, the guy tried to rape us. We pushed him downstairs. He died." They even go as far to put the guy's fingers up one of the girl's woohoos. Because they check underneath the nails, so, got to get some stuff under there. And then the guy wakes up and he's just paralyzed. So he's like, "Help me, call an ambulance. I won't say nothing, I promise. I won't tell the police you put my hand up your wazoo." So the girls are trying to think of what to do now. So they finally think of a reasonable thing to do, and then one of the girls just sneaks off and kills him anyway, just smothers him with a pillow. So many bad decisions, but still yet fairly interesting movie. $3.95. This is the movie I loved. Can't quite figure out where to rank it yet. It's way up there though. Possibly top 3, maybe top 2. The Disaster Artist. James Franco. Dave Franco too. James Franco was playing Tommy Wiseau. Wiseau. I think it's Wiseau. Who made that horrible movie I reviewed a few shows ago, The Room. And I didn't know the whole story behind the production of that. I just thought it was just a cheaply made movie. I didn't know the Tommy guy put up the whole money for that whole film by himself, and insisted he starred and wrote the script, and he's half nuts, but fascinating film. I laughed heartily and often for The Disaster Artist. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. $3.96. Don't Hang Up. This was fine. This was a good little time-filling, scary horror thriller movie. This group of college buddies are doing these internet pranks where they call people and try to convince them that, the cops are calling them and then there's someone's in their house. So they get all spooked, and then they post the clip on the internet to get views and followers and yada yada. Well, one of the people they pranked is not so happy. So they're looking for some payback. So he makes the lives of the pranksters pretty miserable, to say the least. But interesting film. Don't Hang Up. $3.97. Don't Grow Up. We go from Don't Hang Up to Don't Grow Up. Can't read my writing sometimes, but these adolescents, and they're like punks, and they're like in a juvie type situation. I think this is like an Australian movie too. They're in this island. It's like a little town off an island, but then they realize they're the only people around. All the adults have vanished. And the one adult that does show up is like a zombie. So like, what do we do? Do we hang out here? Do we escape? Eventually a couple of them escape, and it follows those. And the world has changed around them in their little island. So it's pretty much like the Hunger Games, but not as good. It's nothing overly special. I would not go out of the way. $3.98. This movie, The Student. I believe this was a French movie. This kid, high school student, loves making his mom's life miserable, and he starts getting heavy in religion, and he can kind of twist the meaning of Bible verses to kind of do whatever he wants, and he's making the lives of the teachers and some of the fellow students miserable. And it kind of takes a little out of hand, but there was no ending to this movie. It was starting to pick up and go towards the direction, then it's just over. I was disappointed. It had potential. $3.99. Slaughter High, a good early 80s horror movie. These group of high school kids are tormenting this nerd, and they play around with some of his science experiment stuff, and he ends up like blowing half his face off, and he's disfigured. And fast forward several years later, and there's like a class reunion at the old school, which is now abandoned, and it's pretty much a death trap that's set by the old nerd that's disfigured, and he starts picking them off one by one in violent ways. But it's kind of comedic too at the same time. It's kind of like Porky's meets Friday the 13th. That makes sense. But it was fine. 400. Trick or Treats. another early 80s horror film. I don't know what I have with early 80s horror films, but they appeal to me. Probably because I haven't seen most of them, because I was too young to watch them at that point. But this was fun. I gotta talk about the opening scene. This middle-aged woman and her husband are having breakfast, and then these two guys show up at the door with the white coats and the nets to take the guy off to the asylum because he's loony, apparently. And he's fighting these guys off tooth and nail. He's kicking them off. He's climbing trees to escape him. He's throwing tables on top of them. And then while he's giving one a piggyback ride, I'm not kidding, he falls into the pool, and then he just suddenly loses all his energy. Yep. He fell in the pool, lost energy, and finally got taken down by the two guys with the coats. But then fast forward years later, and he escapes, and he's going to go back to kill his wife. He escapes the mental institution, and he wants to go kill his wife. And to escape the hospital, he had to dress up as a nurse to get out, so he's walking around town as a woman. And it's a horror comedy. And he's the ugliest woman ever, but still guys are hitting on him and hey baby, where you going with that ass? But, yeah. But then the wife is gone. It's not at the house. It's this woman who's babysitting this kid, and the kid is a total nightmare. He's big into magic, and magic as in a magician, not Magic the Gathering. But he's playing all these little tricks on her, and these horror pranks, or these magic pranks, and making her life miserable. Then she has to deal with this guy that wants to kill her. But yeah, interesting film. Trick or Treats number 400. So that's, we're 1/3 the way there. The battle's far from over, but I'm still going, still trucking. But that's it for now. More later.